What is going on, Saberland? This is Rob with Sir Rock Sabers, coming to you with another build breakdown. So what we have here is a mashup of the Ben Solo hilt and the Kylo Ren crossguard. So, original inspiration. This hilt was originally done, not this one particular, but the original version was done by a guy named Patrick Cargill, who was really good in the community, really good machinist. And then he fell out and all kinds of drama, and he's no longer in the community because he did some bad things. So, I like the way he did his, and there were some imperfections in his design that I wasn't really fond of. Like, for instance, so let me go back a little bit. This hilt originally was a Corbett crossguard V1. Yes, crossguard. So it had the quillions, or however you say that, the side blades, just like the Kylo Ren hilt did. And I removed them. And the first person to do that was that gentleman, Patrick Cargill. But he used JB Weld to fill in the spots, and then he machined the lines just like I do right here. But the thing about JB Weld is if you go to sand it or clean it or anything, it's going to break off. It's like clay. So that's no good. So when I figured out how to fill it in with aluminum and blend it in and machine it, I went ahead and did that. So I was able to keep it all strong here in the parts where you can't even tell that the quillions were there, or the side blades, however you say that. So I was able to do a better process of the hilt design and make by not having to use JB Weld and doing it the proper way with aluminum to fill it in. Also, another thing I machined here was the slots for the crystal chamber. He also did it on his, and obviously I went ahead and copied that idea. And mine is a little different. His chamber wasn't designed as mine because I didn't want to obviously make it exactly like his. So I went ahead and modified that. And his had a recharge port, and I wasn't a big fan of the recharge port, but that was before we had the Pixel PCBs, and we just had the Prism V5 come out, or V4, was it Prism? I forgot which Prism it was that gave you Pixel blade access, but it didn't give you the smooth swing, and we were still evolving in the tech to where we are now. So we couldn't do removable batteries at the time. Well, we could, but it just depended on the space you had, and this was not one of those space friendly hilt designs in order to be able to do that. And it could only accommodate a 22 millimeter speaker, so it was just a really small hilt, really nice design, but not install friendly is what it was. And where I improved upon it was to make it install friendly and to be able to have removable battery and a 28 millimeter speaker. So all that into this little hilt. It's small, it's not very large. My hand's almost as large as it. It's really thin. You can see that right there. Look how thin that is. It's not, like I said, this is internal is 7/8. The outside diameter is probably maybe less than 1.25 inches. I don't know. It's really small. I'd have to measure it. So yeah. What else did I do? So I made custom switch plungers for it that are secured so they won't fall out. I machined the top part right here out of steel, and as you can see, it's heat stained, and that heat stain came out really nice. It blends in really nicely with the hilt. And then also I machined the pommel, and I machined the internal part right here in order to accommodate that big 28 millimeter speaker in this little 7/8 ID of a hilt, because you got to have good quality sound. And though you can get decent resonance out of a 22, I had to have the 28, and that's what we have there is a 28. I machined the crystal chamber, as I mentioned. The blade plug, I forgot who makes this blade plug. I believe Justin T. Marsh is the one that gave it to me for some work that I did for him. What else have I done to this thing? So yeah, it's pretty much all I've done. I removed the side blades, did the custom emitter, heat stain, the switch plungers, crystal chamber, mill for the slot of the crystal chamber, custom pommel, and space for the 28mm speaker. Now, this chassis is fully removable, comes all apart, and let's go ahead and break her down so you can see the inside. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove the blade plug, get that out of the way, and get my grip on it because it is a snug little fit. There we go. And then we'll loosen up the chassis. This is the chassis retention screw right here that I'm turning. And then we will go ahead and remove the pommel as the blade plug rolls away. Put that right there. And let's go ahead and bring the chassis out. Now the chassis is a little snug in there just because, as I mentioned, it's 7/8 inside diameter, super small in there, and you can see where I machined the space for the 28mm speaker and had to rethread it and make the custom pommel for it. All right, so put that to the side for now. We'll bring in the chassis. As you can see, the chassis is super small, and as I mentioned, it does have a removable battery in a 7/8 chassis. So this is super small, super thin. It's strong, it's sturdy, but I wouldn't go trying to drop it off of anything because I'm sure it'll break because it's so thin. In order to accommodate this, like I said, it's pretty sturdy, it's good, but I wouldn't really want to test it because it's already installed, and that would be a pain in the ass to redo it. So here are the switches for the plungers, and then we have CFX. And here is the machined brass crystal chamber and the 28mm Smuggler's Outpost Elite speaker. Super small stuff, pixel PCBs. So we'll go ahead and drop this back in. Pretty loud. It's not even in the hilt. Let's put her back in. Let me go through this part right here as well so you can see the plungers and how they are secured. So there are the plungers, you can see them. They're not going anywhere. All right, let's put her back together and turn her on. This aligned properly, and then we'll bring the chassis in, make sure everything looks good. Bump and slide her in, test the switches. All right, that's working. Secure the chassis. Put the pommel and plug back in. So there is a bit of a little process in order to gain access to the chassis and soundboard and removable battery if you want to swap it out, but it's not too bad. It's takes only a couple minutes and good to go. All right, and there we go. Power. Let's turn her on. And there it is. The what was a Corband V1 crossguard turned into a Ben Solo Kylo Ren mashup. Hope you guys enjoyed that video, the little story, the breakdown, and may the force be with you.